Hey guys, what's up? I'm Luna from Astro Girls, your resident cryptid and all-time sleepy boy.
My name is Karrie. I have been in Astro Girls, or a member of Astro Girls, since my first year of college, which was 5 to 6 years ago.
We just really wanted to say thank you so much for over 1,000 people subscribing to this rinky-dink little channel. It was mostly to, kind of hang out with our friends and react to, well, mostly emotionally traumatizing stuff. Thanks, Megan. We love you.
Some of my favorite animes are Yuri on Ice and Haikyuu, which are surprising ones because I'm not really much of a sports kind of gal. I also am into video gaming, things like Legend of Zelda, Genshin Impact. I'm also a D&D nerd, so I'm just pretty well-rounded.
Hi, my name is Jasmine. I'm 24, gonna be 25 in October. I'm a creative writing major, and I like to play video games, like to read, and I obviously like to write. And watch anime, too.
You may remember me from my solo reaction to the Tales from the Earthsea, where Willem Dafoe proceeded to scare the ever-living shit out of me.
Oh no! That is some freaky shit!
And you may recognize my voice from the Your Name video, screeching. I'm sorry. I should be screaming right now for you to recognize me, but I think one of my most iconic lines from that is probably the, I'm sweating and crying at the same time. Something like that. I don't want to go back and watch that. I hate watching videos of myself. But yeah, seriously, thank you so much for deciding to join this crazy little family we got going on. And while not everyone was able to send in videos and stuff, I'm super happy with being able to introduce some of us.
I have been an animation nut ever since I was little. I was always the kid, whenever there were sleepovers, would beg to watch a Disney movie or a DreamWorks movie or anything like that. Even into middle school, high school, someone would be like, oh, let's watch Twilight. Let's watch The Notebook. Let's watch, I don't know, a multitude of any other things. And I would be like, what if we just watched Tangled or something? And I've always been like that. It's not that I have anything against live action or that I ever had anything against live action, but there's just something about animation that always just scratched at the right places in my brain. Even when I was younger, before I really understood all the work and creativity and just effort that went into animation and what an amazing tool it was. I just enjoyed just the concept, the fact that it's one tool, but depending on who uses it, it can look different and you can use it differently, and it's just little me just loved that, and I still love it, and it's just always been a very integral part of my life and my creative workings in my brain.
My history with anime kind of goes back to when I was a little bitty kid, watching the cartoons that came on Saturday mornings. So kind of the random episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai, Yu-Gi-Oh, Sonic, stuff like that. That was before I even knew it was anime though, but that's technically my first introduction. The first thing that was handed to me and told, this is anime, you may like it, was Soul Eater. So I was really thrown into the deep end, because the recommendations kind of went down the rabbit hole from there. That's probably the best way of phrasing that. Yeah. So that's kind of my first. Soul Eater was my first like real anime, but my first like actual anime that I can tend to like credit, it was Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, I believe, the original Yu-Gi-Oh! But I've watched many of the ones that came after it. Not all of them, but many of them.
So I first started watching anime when I was in middle school, I think. My very first anime that I ever watched was Death Note. Probably not the best anime to watch when you're like 12, 11. I don't know how old you are in middle school. That was a long time ago. But yeah, I think it caused some trauma. I'm not sure. But anime has been overall a very confusing and fun experience for me. I mean, confusing because sometimes I hate it. And then sometimes I love it, and I'm like, why? My favorite anime of all time is Bleach. That's probably really obscure, and it's just like, really? Bleach? 400, 500 episodes? But, I mean, at least it's not One Piece or Dragon Ball, even though I love Dragon Ball. But, whatever. Ichigo, my son, love him, stand by him, I support him. Okay, he's been there, I've been there since high school, maybe early high school, maybe like my freshman year of high school. But Bleach, all-time favorite. Although Berserk is kind of overpowering it. Because I love Berserk too. Don't watch Berserk if you are a child. That probably makes you want to watch it more, but don't.
Like most children, I kind of started off with cartoons. So anything that was on Nick Jr., Nick, Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, those kinds of things, you know. Used to watch, they used to have some really crazy ones when we were younger, like Courage the Cowardly Dog. I'm pretty sure I went to bed with some nightmares most nights watching that show. Truly wild, but they'll let kids watch sometimes. But I mean, I always enjoyed watching those silly little colorful pictures on the screen. My dad would always sit and watch cartoons with me on the weekends. SpongeBob. I would never have thought, like, any adult would want to sit down and watch SpongeBob with their kid, but he just kind of sat there and we watched it, and then usually would switch to some kind of, like, car show type thing. But I mean, like, this really my foray into animation in the beginning was just kids cartoons. Until my dad decided at, I don't even know what age, but probably, not even probably, definitely way too young, started letting me watch Adult Swim with him. So things like Family Guy, American Dad, Robot Chicken.
If you want to be technical about it, I did watch anime when I was little, but I don't like to count it because I didn't know it was anime. I had no clue what anime was. I barely even knew what the country of Japan was. So, like, Pokemon was a huge obsession with mine. Like, my cousin was big into Pokemon, played the games, all that, and he's the one who kind of introduced me to that, and I was obsessed with the anime for quite a few years when I was younger, like, to the point, like, I would memorize the Pokedex, I would do all that, I would, like, quiz other kids at school who were also into Pokemon. I would watch Beyblade before school in the morning, and, like, Pokemon was always in my routine. I would get home from school every day at 5 o'clock, and I remember I would sit in front of the TV for the new Pokemon episode with a bowl of mac and cheese, and that was life. That was the dream.
Of course, like, Adult Swim on the weekends would change into Toonami, which was the animation realm. It was always so great to just kind of stay up late on the weekends and just watch as they said goodnight to Cartoon Network and went onto the spaceship. And I cannot remember the guy's name on that spaceship, or the spaceship's name. I feel really bad. I don't want to look it up, but they were basically my mentors into anime. So things like Naruto, Inuyasha. There was this really weird one that I, for some reason, remember, but I never watched. It was like Blue Dragon or something like that. It reminded me too much of Dragon Ball, and even when I was a kid, I didn't like Dragon Ball. Sorry, Dragon Ball fans. I can't do it. I will still Kamehameha with you, though. I promise. But I didn't know there was a difference in between what I was watching on the weekends at night and what I was watching during the day. Again, there were some messed up cartoons that we were allowed to watch during the day. Like, Tom and Jerry could run around and try to kill each other, of what was just adding some blood later on in an anime, you know? It's just... They were just so fun and colorful and just so attractive to watch, even if there was just an amazing amount of violence. Toonami mostly focuses on, like, shonen stuff. Very rarely did you get anything else, and so that took me a little bit to get into some other things, just kind of just flipping through and being like, oh, what's related to this, you know?
The first time I watched anime, knowing what anime was it was either the end of my 8th grade year or the beginning of my freshman year of high school. And it was my sister came into my room one night and she was like, Megan, I gotta show you this show. It's called Full Metal Alchemist. And I'm like, okay, sure. And this was back in the day when Funimation would upload entire series to their YouTube channels. And this was FMA 2003, not Brotherhood. But she's like, I just watched the show in like 3 days. You gotta watch it, Megan. It's so good. And she sat me down to watch the first episode. And initially I was like, Katie, this is weird. The storyline confused me. I didn't know like some anime tropes, so I'm like, what's going on? You know, like general like newbie shit. I didn't know what I was watching. And then, you know, you get 3 episodes in, and if you watch the original Fullmetal Alchemist, you know, like, you get about 3 episodes in when you get the backstory, and it hits you, and I was like, okay, this is something, and I like it. And so I also watched FMA 03, and from there it's just downward spiral. That was right around the time my family got Netflix, and that's around the time Netflix actually started kind of bringing on more anime onto their service. So anything that was on Netflix I would watch. I went straight to Brotherhood after that, and then like all the standard classic Funimation ones like Ouran High School Host Club, and Soul Eater, and Black Butler, and I can't even remember what else they had on there at the time. A lot of old stuff. And it very quickly became an obsession. That is still relevant to this day.
So I didn't really get into like other genres until maybe junior high, so 7th, 8th grade. My friends and I were watching stuff like Black Butler and Hitalia. Yeah, I was a Hitalia girly. They say hiding their Hitalia poster that's over on the wall there. It's fine. We grow out of some things, and some things, they stay in the soul.
High School Weeb Megan was, you know, a rough patch. Like, it was me discovering who I am as a weeb. It was kind of a bunch of me. It was before I knew what, like, my preferences were. in terms of what I like to watch. So I was kind of just watching, one, anything that was available, because this was before Crunchyroll was streaming anything, before Funimation was streaming anything. So it was really just whatever Netflix had available. It was on YouTube at the time, what I could find at a local DVD store. And so yeah, I watched a lot of not great shows before I knew anything. And it was the standard thing in high school where it was like you couldn't really know who watched anime, and it's the kind of thing, it's like, oh, if they were like openly proclaiming that they liked anime in high school, it wasn't great to associate with them. And in retrospect, it's like no, like they should, perfectly fine, like what you like, that's fine. But when I was in high school, it was still kind of it was before anime really blew up in the overall cultural zeitgeist here in the West. So it was still not a cool thing to like anime when I was in high school, which is crazy because I was only like, wait, Jesus Christ, 7 years ago, when I was a senior in high school.
Funny story. I was never going to mention that I liked anime when I went into college. I actually rarely watched it anymore or really interacted with it. I still had friends from high school who, like, we talked about it sometimes, but it's just like, it wasn't really a big thing anymore. Senior year, it was mostly, oh my god, like, we're gonna be adults soon, we gotta start our lives, who cares about other things? And so it just kind of fell off for me. And where I come from, unfortunately, there weren't really popular kids who liked anime, or at least never said anything about it, and usually made fun of the people who did. So, yeah, it was great being in a outcast situation just for something that you liked that is now really mainstream. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyways, it's not really that I cared about popularity when I went into college, but I was a whole new state away from all of my friends, and I didn't know anyone when I went in, and I've always just kind of been super introverted, and I was really afraid that everyone would just think I'm, like, super weird. I had some anime merch and stuff, but I kept it hidden. Like, I was not going to display anything. I had a roommate for the first half of my first semester, and she never mentioned anything about liking anime. She liked some YouTubers, and, like, we liked some of the same bands and stuff, but other than that, nada.
When I got accepted into college, the college made this Facebook group for the incoming class. And all of us went to a very relatively small college. It wasn't like a state university or anything like that. So it was, you know, not like a giant group, but it was a decent group. And to be honest, how the conversation got started to create an anime club is very fuzzy. I think it began with someone, I don't believe it was me, someone just going on the event being like, hey, are there any anime fans out there? And I think I replied, and then 2 other people replied. And then as we kind of started direct messaging each other and talking to each other, me and these 3 other people who are no longer in the group with us for various reasons, no bad blood or anything, they're just, life happens and they are no longer with us. They're still alive, just no longer with us. But the 4 of us got into a conversation being like, well, let's just start an anime club. What are we gonna do? I don't fucking know. Let's just start an anime club. And we were like, okay, sure. And then one of the people in the group couldn't even end up attending school with us, so it was just the three of us left. And we were able to finally meet on campus, and it was like, you know, if you have been in college or are a freshman in college, you know, like the beginning day jitters if you've been talking to people online about like it was a very exciting day, an exciting week to meet everybody and kind of actually get the ball rolling and on starting club stuff. And there was within the first week there was something called an involvement fair where all the student organizations would go out, and we were so unprepared and unorganized. We didn't have anything. Like, we just had like I made a Simon.
So I found the group at the club fair that our college put on my first year. I was with my best friend, Ro, and we had decided to go and see what they had options, what was offered, kind of looking at what was happening in our specific field of study. So I was looking for more, what was the STEM-based ones, if there was, the pre-veterinarian, animal science, chemistry, biology, stuff like that. Kind of seeing what there was in that, and then maybe something fun. But I didn't really have high hopes. We're both from we're from a small town, so most of the clubs consisted around a lot of sports and stuff like that, which
yeah, we were not prepared for the involvement fair at all. I don't even know what our pitch was, in all honesty. And we came up with the name Astro Girls because of Astro Boy, obviously. And I think originally we were trying to think of Astro being an acronym for something, and it just did not work out. We couldn't agree on what we wanted. So it was just Astro Girls. And then it started a whole thing where we'd have people coming up to our booth thinking we were like an astrology club.
We had seen the Astro Girls, and we both, I at least immediately was like, astrology, that may be interesting, but we'll make our way around it. It's not something we're going to beeline towards.
And we were like, no, it's different. Sorry. I'm sure we have one in the room somewhere, but it's not us. And it was a while ago, obviously, so I don't remember a lot of that day. I don't even remember specifically when everyone who's currently in the group came up.
My introduction to the Astro Girls made me want to never ever like anime ever again. It sounds so bad, but I don't know what it was. I was just kind of just alone. I didn't really have any friends yet. My roommate and I kind of talked, but for the most part we kind of went off on her and did our own things. But so this club day, basically you would go around and check out all these different organizations that were around and that you could join. And they were having some type of game, basically, where if you go up to enough of the organizations and basically sign up, or at least, give them your name, email, blah, 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 you could be entered into a drawing to earn some, credit for the school store. And I was like, sure, free merch. I think at that time they also had some food in there, so you could buy food even though we had a cafeteria, but snacks for the dorm room, whatever. So I was just kind of going around, and there were a lot of clubs where I was like, no. Anyways, so just kind of going around, and then I hear it. I hear the dulcet tones of History Maker from Yuri on Ice, and I was like, I can't escape it. I can't. So I decided to go check out the anime booth, which booth is said very lightly because they were literally just like white picnic tables set up in the quad of like above our cafeteria. And so they were kind of tucked away into this little corner by the mailboxes, and I make my way over, and they have just like a sign and a laptop, and the laptop is playing, you know, all the music and AMVs and that kind of stuff.
And then we got closer, and it was Megan and Luna. I remember who was manning it. And we saw anime. We saw, you know, the cutouts of the things that they had watched the previous year. I saw the things that they had a list of what they were planning on watching. Some that I had, some that I hadn't. We just kind of got to talking with them, and were really interested. We are both not super socially outgoing people, so I'm sure the conversation was painful and very stunted.
But it was a huge blur. And then the other two just kind of had this crazy, like, manic, like, they were excited about it, but they had this crazy manic energy and, like, volume to their voices that was kind of, like, scaring some people off. And I'm like, okay, let's calm down here. We're very clearly just a bunch of loners who just want to make friends, okay?
They're kind of intense. Like, you should join our club. You looked at our table once. Join. And I was like, I don't like anime. Like, obviously a lie. Obviously a lie, but like, I was scared for my life. The pressure was intense. Not to say that they weren't lovely people, but I was just a wee babe. Well, it turns out, anyways, they were freshmen too, so I shouldn't have really been that scared, but also, I am not used to being approached like that. Just completely shocked me to my core. And I've just like wrote my name and email down and got the hell out of there.
So that was crazy. We had quite a few people sign up though, and that first semester we kind of had no direction. It was kind of just like, oh hey, like, we're a bunch of people who like anime, let's talk about it, and we'll have like some special events or anything. I'm trying to remember specifics.
And then we went to our first meeting, and I remember we all sat in a circle and kind of answered like icebreaker questions and did a lot of icebreaker stuff. Some of the questions were like, what's your favorite anime? What's your least favorite anime? What's, you know, stuff like that. But then it was also fun things like, what is a mythological creature or something that you believe in? And I remember my answer was Leviathan, because the ocean is big, deep, underexplored, and terrifying.
I cannot tell you how that first club meeting went. I think I have completely wiped that time from my memory. I just remember chaos. Freshman year of college was kind of difficult for me. I had been having troubles with school before moving, and now I was in a new state. I didn't know anyone. I was coming to terms that the only reason that I was in college is because I had to. Everyone in my family expected me to. My older sister went, but dropped out, and there's just a lot of pressure to kind of be better. I kind of used the club as an escape route after I got over my initial shock. Shock is the light word. It's in the beginning was very, I wouldn't say packed. There were people that were coming in and out, but like, the people did have just like really, really, really liked anime, and I just wasn't in that headspace anymore. But I mean, a couple times a month, meeting up with this strange group of people.
We had like, I think for Halloween we did a thing where we marathoned a bunch of Halloween episodes of anime, and we did a thing where we watched all the first episodes of really big anime, and like, and we had certain events and we would have like get-togethers and stuff, but really it was just like, we didn't have a direction. We didn't know what we were doing. That's bare basics of it. That first semester we really had no clue what exactly we wanted to do with our organization.
By time going on, the group kind of got smaller and smaller, just from people realizing, oh, college isn't for me, or this group isn't for me, the people in it aren't for me, which, whew, I mean, I get it. I'm a lot to handle. But, you know, it's just, we kind of became a pretty close-knit group of people. Megan became our de facto leader. I think freshman year she was the secretary? Some type of position like that. You only had to have 3 officers to kind of start the club, so you had your president, your vice president, whatever the fuck else that you need to, you know, start a club. So, I mean, she had kind of been running things behind the scenes anyways, just simply because, again, Megan is probably the only reason that most of us are able to function in the first place, or at least for my sake anyways. She's the planner and the plan keeper, but she kept things running pretty smoothly.
It wasn't really until right before that second semester of the first year where I kind of just thought, I'm like, okay, let's just start off. Let's have just some watch parties. And if we want to have discussions afterwards, we can have discussions. But let's set a thing. We'll watch one series and we'll watch one movie a month for second semester. And I can't, what do we do? We chose some like very bare basic ones. There was Cowboy Bebop and gosh, what else did we watch? Very, very, very basic ones. We did a Momo Hosoda night. We did all this other stuff. But I think the big thing that really got our ball rolling and kind of a sense of like, okay, I think I know what we're doing. And that was when we decided to watch Your Name. So Your Name had just come out the year before this, and it had just gotten released on DVD. And I had watched it over winter break and obviously fell in love with it. It is my favorite film to this day. And I was like, oh my God, we need to watch this because it's a beautiful film and it just came out and I know not a lot of people have seen it. And if you've seen the film, you know, it's an emotional roller coaster. And I just thought, oh, this is fun. And so I tweeted about it, being like, oh, they don't know what's coming. Wahaha, I'm the only one who's watched it. And Stephanie Shea, who is the English voice actor for Mitsuha, if you're familiar, she tweeted back to me and she was like, I want to see videos. Like, I want to see videos of your friends reacting to this movie. And I was like, okay. And so if you've seen the reaction video of it, it's on our channel. Put a link somewhere. But everyone loved the movie. The reactions were insane. And I posted it, and all the voice actors kind of shared it and were like, oh my gosh, this is great. But that was kind of what lit the spark in my head. And I'm like, this is all this is. This club, one, was started pretty much as an excuse for us to meet other people with this interest. And in order to become a student organization at our university in particular, you had to have a goal in mind. It had to have some kind of educational purpose. It couldn't just be, for funsies. And so we're like, oh, we're talking about storytelling techniques and like other, and which we did, just not in an official sense whatsoever. And so Your Name, the day we watched Your Name, clicked in me that I'm like, that's all this fucking is. This is just a way for us to add to our friend group and just watch some really dope animation and anime. That's all this is. And so from then on, the format was, it's like, okay, we're just gonna watch a bunch of shit. That's what this club is. And just have like fun friend nights where we share snacks and maybe we'll make dinner. And it was like an epiphany moment. And so we would gather in in one of the dorm halls. There was a lobby area where the kitchen was, and they had a huge blank white wall. And I bought a small projector, and I'm like, this is where we'll have it. We have couches, we have pillows, we got all this stuff. Let's just watch stuff together as a friend group. And if I know it's gonna be an emotional roller coaster, maybe I'll record it. I honest to God was kind of living a double life in college, because I had this group of friends that I began to accumulate with Anime Club and just embracing my full identity as a weeb and growing my comfortability with it. But at the same time, I was a theater major, which is a very big commitment, big time commitment, very consuming thing. And I was finding a different confidence within myself as an actor and as a performer and as a creative. And it was two sides that like they would come to mesh together every so often, but they were also very much at odds with each other in terms of where I could divide my time, especially when I eventually became the president of the club and had to start scheduling stuff and making sure, because we had theater majors in the group. We had, I think it was just me and Ro as theater majors in the group, but we also had creative writing majors. We had Karrie, who was a biology major, a woman in STEM. But we had all these students coming from different places who had different obligations and different events they had to go to. And it was just a matter of trying to make everyone happy with our scheduling as possible. And it was very interesting trying to find that balance, not just between the obligations of both things, but also in terms of my friendships between the two groups. Because outside of one or two people, like two theater majors who I knew who would be in our group, those two worlds didn't really mix. Outside of the people who I had founded the club with, the first people I was really able to make a connection with in the group were, big surprise, Luna and Brittany, who it was the day we did our Halloween night where we watched all the Halloween specials, or just in general, like a scary psychological stuff. And I remember we'd watched the first episode of Erased.
Which, if you haven't seen Erased, do it. It's so good. Why haven't you watched it? It's 12 episodes. It's so good.
And they were very intrigued by it. Well, I'm like, well, okay, it's 12 episodes long. We can get through it in a night. Granted, it was already like 10, 11 p.m. And it was a school night.
Brittany and I basically just hands and knees, just, Megan, please, can we please stay to watch the rest of the show? It was like midnight. It was like midnight by that time, because that's usually when we wrap things up. And she agreed. But, yeah, so Brittany and I kind of just, like, curled up on the couch next to each other. We had already been kind of friends through, our major. We were both creative writing majors, so, we kind of already knew each other from classes and stuff, and we had been getting closer, in the club. And so we all kind of just, like, sat down and stayed up all night and watched this thing, and like, some type of spiritual bond was made that night. Brittany and I just clung to each other, screaming and crying through most of it, like, gaslighting ourselves, and it's an experience. It was an experience that I will never forget. It brought a bond between the three of us that is really hard to get rid of.
That is, to this day, one of my core memories, because that is the day that the three of us kind of became a trio, and it was very fun because they're big reactors, you know, and it was just so fun. I'd never done a thing like that before, because I was a very academically conscious student, and so I'd never done a thing where I'd be like, yeah, let's stay up till 3 a.m. on a school night to watch an anime with these two people who at the time I did not know very well and was not very close to. And it was the night where things kind of clicked, and it was great. And from that moment on, we really bonded, the three of us did. And from there on, it was just slowly getting to know other individuals who were able to come regularly, because there were really only a solid 8 people every single year who came on a regular basis, weekly, to every watch party we did. And those are the people that I am still friends with to this day. And, you know, we did that first year where I met Luna and Brittany, and then you skip a year, and that's when Karrie and Ro came in, and they very quickly integrated into the group, the dynamic.
Karrie and Ro and some other ones kind of became our main people, and they just integrated so easily into the craziness of the group, which those two actually became more of my friends. They became all of our friends, but, like, I went with them in a different way, because we're all really into D&D, and so they kind of pulled me into their D&D group, which, amazing, awesome.
Again, I'm not a very socially outgoing person, so I remember being kind of quiet and less spoken to for a while there. Just kind of listened, but it seemed like a really fun, chill group that shared my interests, which was not very common, again, in this small town. So at first, I was super terrified because new people, many of which were, I mean, only a couple of years older than me, but they were, like, still upperclassmen, and, like, so I was like, ooh, terrified. And then they're some of my best friends. I don't know if Luna is going to be talking about D&D. Luna has DM'd for me in a campaign before. I've been in a campaign with Luna. Rose, of course, there. We've dragged Megan further into the nerdism. Very proud of that fun. So yeah, we're a very close-knit group now, which I was not super expecting, but I'm very happy about.
So I first found out about Astro Girls in college. I'm friends with Luna and Megan, and Luna had actually told me they were forming it. And while I did think it was cool and that I did kind of want to join, I am unfortunately very shy, very anxious, and committing to a group for a long time kind of freaked me out in college. So I didn't officially join it, but I would get invited to some of their stuff, and they were really nice about that. And that's amazing. I love that. So I went to maybe 2 or 3 events that Megan and Luna hosted.
And Tracy, I think Tracy came in, it was in that, I believe it was in that, oh gosh, it was either the end of the very first semester or the very beginning of the second semester, right before the Your Name video, because I'm pretty sure she's in the Your Name video. But she was an education major, so she was the only education major we had, so it was a separation, but the two of us were in choir together. And if you're familiar with the channel at all, which you probably should be if you're watching this, but she's been an anime fan since she was a child, like big Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura, like she's like old school, like anime fan.
She's kind of call her the wine aunt of our crazy little family. Love her to bits.
And she just approached me at the end of choir one day and was like, hey, like, you're in that anime club, right? Is it okay if I come to one of your things? And I'm like, yeah, come on. And from then on, Tracy was in the group. And it was just looking back on how everyone kind of just jumped in and became a part of the dynamic that we're so familiar with and so in love with today. Like, it's wild to think about how all of that progressed and came to be. It's just wild.
Megan, Brittany, Karrie, Ro, Tracy, Jasmine, who I don't know if she's gonna make a video or not, but she was in our Actually video. She is one of my best friends who wasn't even really in the club. We met through our major too, but I am the one that kind of like pulled her into this group. And, you know, I got her into D&D. It's just, we all kind of have these similar interests and are able to just kind of be simpatico together. It's really great that you can find people that just kind of can understand you and all your quirks.
Like I was saying, this group is some of my dearest friends that I love very much. I've gone over to Megan and Luna's place all the time. You know, they've come here. You know, Megan came here and stayed with me, and we went to the con, just us, and we had so much fun doing that. We do stuff together outside of even just like this club. Like, we're a friend group. We're not just a club or, you know, a YouTube group or anything like that. Like, we are friends. Like, not, you know, a couple months ago, we all met up to celebrate kind of big steps in everyone's lives. And we had so much fun, and I didn't want to leave. And I believe at some point we were talking about making a little compound where we all just had our individual houses and we could just go back and forth. Individualized, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Or just a very deep group of friends that I very much appreciate getting the chance to be able to meet and make.
There's a lot of good memories from our time in college as a club. Outside of, you know, like actual reactions, because I love seeing people's reactions and you know that. But in terms of favorite memories, there's just like one I remember in particular. We had a member, her name was Miranda. She wasn't with us for very long. She was with us for a year, maybe even just a semester. She was cool. But her dad was a security guard at the college. And where we would do our watch parties, in the basement, in the kitchen basement area, the security office was literally like right down the hall, like right around the corner from us in that dorm hall. So we would have security guards coming in and out all the time to grab water and like all that other stuff. But what her dad was also an anime fan. He was the one who introduced her to anime, and he would just come in and watch stuff with us sometimes. And there's one day he brought us chocolate covered strawberries. He would bring us snacks. Like he was so chill. I feel really bad. I cannot remember this man's name for the life of me, but he was really cool. And yeah, just little moments like that. Like we'd have like random people come in, like who weren't a part of our group at all, maybe didn't even watch anime, but then they would like stop and kind of like, you know, kind of watch with us for about 5 minutes and then maybe leave. It's like, I don't know if they liked it or not. Maybe they did. Who knows? But it was just like little moments like that where we were able to like slowly bring people in, even if just for like a tiny moment. Like that stuff was really cool.
Most nights that we would come together, I loved cooking for everyone. It was kind of the joke that was like, I'm the dad of the group and Megan's the mom. Megan like keeps everyone in line and that kind of stuff, but I'm the fun guy who like makes all the food and brings drinks for everybody, you know? I'm joking about the drinks. I wasn't old enough to buy drinks. There was a Christmas party where we didn't really watch anything anime related. No, we sat down and watched The Grinch, the Jim Carrey version, because while the animated version is very good, we all have a very special spot in our hearts for the Jim Carrey version. I think the best part of that night is after we finished watching The Grinch, we watched the not so Christmas related, but still has snow, Repo, the genetic opera. Which, if you don't know what that is, I don't know whether to tell you to look it up or not. Like, do, but go in knowing you won't know what you're watching or looking at, but it's great. I think it's great. But it was just so funny, like, watching everyone who hadn't ever seen it before just kind of, like, shocked Pikachu faces watching it. And I think Megan walked in the middle of it, or like right after we had started it or something, and she was just like looking at the screen, was like, what the hell is happening here? And we're just like, oh, this is Repo.
So some of my favorite memories would be going to go watch the My Hero movies and Premiere when it first came out in theaters all together. That was so much fun. We had such a good time, and there's something just so fun and special about being able to go and see those things in theaters. Some of my, in Skate, when we were watching Skate the Infinity, I will remember, the whole time was a blast. We had so much fun, and by the end of it, we were just falling apart. But I remember there was at one point where Adam was being a creep, and I physically could not watch it, and so I had laid down and on the couch and buried my face, and Luna had come down as well and was using me to bury their face, and we were joking, and then I had Felix, my dog, with me, and so, jokingly went and covered his eyes too, and we were all just kind of laughing and just the groaning.
Don't watch, Felix. You're mine. You're mine. Don't watch.
This is Felix. I woke him up from a nap, so he looks very pathetic and sad right now, but I do promise that's his normal face and nothing new. He's in a handful of the videos. I know he's in the Skate one, ones like that. A lot of our earlier videos where we were doing them in the basement of a dorm room. He was not in them because he wasn't allowed. It was a common space and there was a kitchen right there. But he is in some of the more, when we're in someone's living room or something like that a lot. And the veterinarian called him a cute little potato. So this is Felix. He's an honorary member of the Astro Girls. Watching premiere as a group with some of the people that hadn't been able to go to the theaters. And there's a point where, you know, we're all making jokes, and those of us that are in the know, and I believe there was one point where Luna had something to say, but I don't remember exactly what it was. And you see in the video me climb over like 2 or 3 people in order to get to where they are on the couch. This is the other shoe that's in the Angel Beats, where I had told Megan that I was waiting for the other shoe to drop, because we were all being like, this is kinda really cute and we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, but in the meantime we're gonna watch and laugh and make jokes about how this guy is making a little harem and has all of the Riz. And then at the very end, there's a point where I'm like curled up on the couch, bawling my eyes out, and all you can hear me is say, this is the other shoe.
Megan! This was the other shoe!
The phrase, damn it, Megan.
God damn it, Megan! No. God damn it, Megan! God damn it, Megan! Megan, what have you done? I didn't make it!
Is always gonna have a special place right here, right in my heart. Megan coming down and going to the con, and us just, you know, individually fangirling over when we got our autographs and stuff, and just talking about afterwards how we were so like, we just were so and just, you know, doing our rounds around booths and art and spending way too much money, and but having so much fun. Yeah, a lot of my favorite moments are just kind of the little moments that you wouldn't really think about in the midst of, you know, our videos or hangout times or stuff like that.
It was my idea to start a YouTube channel. Big shock. It was mostly because I wanted a place to post react. It was mostly for us for other people to go back to and look at the videos I'd taken of a few of the shows and a few of the reactions. And I was like, if someone else can get a kick out of this, then great, because me personally, I'm a huge fan of reaction channels, and one of my love languages is sharing a piece of media that I love and sharing it with somebody else and seeing their reaction to it and hoping it's the same as mine and we can talk about it. So that's why I'm such a big fan of reaction channels. So I'm like, big brain moment, let's start our own reaction channel. And so the first one, it was over winter break when I created it, I remember specifically. And the first one we uploaded was the Your Name video, which blew up exponentially and then got taken down for copyright reasons, and I had to re-upload it later, but that's a whole thing. But yeah, so it was just, we started posting, and some videos got more than others, and that's fine. But I was like, oh, this would be a cute little thing. And then the very next semester, COVID happened.
I know a few people have commented wanting to see a video of a reaction of us watching Weathering with you. Listen, we watched it, I recorded it, and I think there were like 3 people there, and then me. You couldn't even see me. Like, I was behind the camera, the computer screen, so you could I think you could mostly just hear me, because I'm right next to the camera, and everyone is like 30 feet away, because guess what? COVID restrictions fucked us, okay? It was impossible to watch anything together and get recordings. Like, there were so many things that we watched where I was like, man, that would have been a great reaction video, but COVID. So here we all are, like, masked up, 1,000,000 feet away from each other, and it's all crap. It's all bad. It's real bad.
moving into quarantine when we were all back in our respective homes, doing reaction videos in particular became pretty much an impossibility. I am not an editing wizard, and all of us are not in a technical area in terms of editing. All the videos on this channel are edited on iMovie. For reference, I am not an editor. I've never been trained in editing, graphic design, anything like that. I just do it on iMovie. And you know, like if you're on a Zoom call watching something, it's hard when you hit record. A lot of the streaming services have, you know, buffers to stop you from recording the screen if you're watching copyrighted material. Yeah, so reaction videos were kind of a thing. It's like, okay, at the moment, we can't do this right now. And so that's kind of where we came up with the idea of doing like mini discussion episodes and podcast episodes. Videos that have not been very popular, but they're there. Check them out. They're good discussions. I like them. And it was also around that time. It's like, you know, I had a lot of stuff going through my mind, had a lot of free time to watch all these other shows that I got thoughts on, and that's when I began, you know, also being a video essay girly. I'm like, I can do that. And so that's kind of where my video essay tirades started. And that's also what gave me the opportunity to really improve my editing skills in terms of like placing audio over another clip and figuring out, okay, like how do I want to do this, and like taking from other creators that I'm like, I really like how they did that. Let's see, can I do that on iMovie as an untrained editor? So it was a nice creative outlet for me personally during the pandemic, when as a theater major, I was taken away from my craft and I really had no way to practice my craft. I had to redirect my creative outlet somewhere else.
I already said this. I absolutely hate listening to myself speaking. So I'm very glad that Megan does the editing for videos. But I mean, I kind of like going back to my mini reaction from Tales from the Earthsea, just because that movie is one of the wackiest things I've ever watched, and I don't think I ever want to go watch it fully ever again. So with the little 10-minute like peeks I get of the movie, it's enough. It's enough to make me remember all the wacky shit that is contained within. And my reactions to that are totally justified.
No! What'd I say about being a horror movie? No!
I mean, other than that, I'd say the favorite has to be the Snapchat story. Just because it's really great to go back and watch those videos and stuff, and some of the people who were in those videos didn't stay long in the club, and so seeing those is just like, haha, you know, like, oh, remember the good times we had, except for my ice cream.
No! I'm gonna cry! I just got that!
But yeah, I mean, just watching everyone in that and seeing all the people we didn't really keep in touch with, or at least I didn't keep in touch with, but yeah. Also, that was my giant ass shoe that crushed that cockroach in that video.
So my favorite video on the channel is a little bit hard to pinpoint. I love the skate one, the premiere one. It was a lot of fun, and gosh, I had words and they're gone. I love the kind of theory videos that Megan comes out with, because a lot of the times they'll run by like their script or ideas with me beforehand, so I feel like I'm getting a little sneak peek, which is a lot of fun. Makes me feel special. But I know unless they're too spoilery, then I don't get them, such as the Fruits Basket one, and I'm banned from watching them. But the one for like the Violet Evergarden, that one was super cool because I was just like, you know what? That makes sense. Oh my gosh. And kind of elaborated on that. So, I love those, and I love the thought process and the conversations that spur from those. I don't feel like I'm picking a favorite more than I'm just talking about why I like all the videos we make. But I like, you know, the ones we're talking about, like our favorite animes, our favorite anime openings, because it's a lot of fun to see where we agree, and then our differences in taste, and kind of how widespread the group is, and what we like and don't like, and stuff like that. I mean, the Skate the Infinity and the Premiere are two that definitely hold a special place right here.
The video I like the most, this is where it gets rough, okay? Because it's a thing where my video essays, I'm very proud of my video essays. But I feel like such a narcissist if that's my answer. But in terms of stuff we did as a group, my favorite videos would probably have to be, I really like the discussion we did in terms of our favorite characters. That discussion, again, those Zoom discussions we did don't have a lot of views. Go watch them; they're good. That's probably my favorite discussion we ever had out of those during the quarantine times. And I really enjoy our opening and ending videos where we all list off, where it's a list of all of our top 10 favorite anime openings, endings, mostly because I'm very proud of my editing for those. The first time we did it, it was an editing challenge for me, and just getting to redo that was very nice because I was able to fix some mistakes I had made, and just like formatting wise. So like the most recent ending and opening videos, I'm very proud of those because it's something we were all able to collab on, and just seeing the different places we all come from and like our different preferences and everything like that. And just for me, it was an accomplishment for my editing skills that I feel very proud of. So there isn't a video I hate because they're all my babies. They're all my babies. This channel is my baby. I am not exaggerating like one eensy little bit when I say I don't know what my life would look like currently if not for the friends that I made through our club and continuing our friendship and making this channel together. I don't know where I would be just socially, friendship wise, because I have my sister and I have my childhood best friend, and those are really the only people who I hang out with regularly pre-college times. I'm still very good friends with, like, you know, friends from high school or good acquaintances, but it's like I don't see them on a regular basis. I see them like once, twice a year, do not hang with them regularly. And I have all the people who I was in the theater program with, I'm very dear friends with. But the problem is, we're theater majors, we're actors. We are literally all over the country. No one really is in the area that I'm in, and they're off, you know, actually pursuing the career we spent 3 years in school for. And I'm kind of separated from that, having not and am not actively pursuing at the moment. So the people like Karrie and Luna and Tracy and all them, I wouldn't have people to hang with if not for them. And they are so supportive of me, and they've grown to be very important pieces of my life. And yeah. You haven't seen me cry in person, bitches, so you're not gonna see me cry on video. But yeah, they are very important to me. And you're not gonna see me cry, bitches. You're not. this isn't a bit. I can't think of what to say. I don't know, maybe that speaks volumes. Yeah, I'm just very happy. Very happy with this. Like, I don't make money off of this. None of us make money off of this. This is just a fun thing we do to get our thoughts into the ether, to get our creative process into the ether, just do fun shit and share our love for silly shows and movies and storytelling into the world, and hoping maybe even like one stranger likes it. So the fact that we have 1,000 people who subscribe to us, who is like, yes, I want to see the next thing you do, that's fucking crazy. Some of that is us. Like, maybe like 8 of those are us. But you know what? It's 1,000 nonetheless. And it's awesome. And just like to have a video of mine in particular, something that it was me, my idea, like I put my effort in, I recorded it, edited it, something that was me solely, just having that suddenly go from like 200 something views to like 45,000 in the span of like 3 days, I think it was. It was a very short amount of time, and I was flabbergasted. We were all flabbergasted. I didn't know what was happening. I was panicking. I was like, wait. I just like, it was a stupid thing that I'd made over a hyperfixation of mine, and over 50,000 people have watched it. And that's crazy to me. And like, just like, thank you guys, I guess. I hope we can make even more cool stuff in the future and share our fun weeb experiences and our stuff. And yeah, so thank you for 4 years on YouTube now. We just now reached 1,000 subscribers, so share the channel with people you think will like it. And you know, even if you only like one of our videos, share that video, that'd be great. Yeah, just, I'm not good at this.
The only thing left is like, thank you so much. Like over 1,000 people watching us for some reason. Like, this is supposed to be some type of like, not in memoriam because that would mean we're all dead, but a time capsule of sorts for us, just to be like, haha, remember that time that I emotionally scarred you? Yes, Megan, I do remember that time you emotionally scarred me. Yeah, like, thanks. Continue to check out our stuff, like our stuff. Megan's been putting out her essays, which are bangers on this channel. They're really great. But if there's any content that you guys would like to see, we're all ears. Just like hit us up in like the comments. We don't really have any other socials yet or ever, just because again, we never expected this to blow up, which some people would be like, 1,000 people isn't like that many. But I read a thing where it's just like, yeah, 1,000 people online isn't that many until you think about 1,000 people coming up to you in the street and being like, hey, I know you. And you're like, what do you mean? That's creepy. How do you know me? It's just like, I watch your YouTube channel. Oh my god. Why? I scream constantly. Yeah, this is so special to all of us, and I can just say as like one person of a group of friends, that it's really nice. Thank you.
In addition to thanking you for supporting us and our channel, I would also ask you, because at the moment of this recording, the Writers Guild of America and SAG-AFTRA are currently on strike against the AMPTP because they refuse to give their actors and writers a fair deal and to pay them properly. So what we ask you do, so we can start getting all of our favorite shows back, so artists and creatives can live a comfortable life while also pursuing art and keeping their intellectual properties intact and all that good stuff, in order to support them so they can continue to be on strike and get a fair deal. Please support the Entertainment Community Fund and the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. Support unions, and just please go support them as well. Hopefully, maybe by the time I even upload this, the strikes may be over or in the process of being over. Hopefully within a month, if not that, they're over and we can get back to getting awesome content again and streaming services aren't bullshit and all this other stuff. Support artists, support creatives, support unions. Again, second time I've said that. Support unions, please. And support us. Thank you. That's it.